So our lead this hour coming from South Beach. You think sun and fun in Miami, but that was not the case on Christmas, at least by Florida standards. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers bringing a wintry mix to the South Florida area. The Dolphins kicking off in 46-degree weather. Oh, my God, it's 46 degrees. It's so cold. It's so cold. Well, if you lived in Florida, you would say that. The coldest game in Miami since way back in 1989. Wow, holy cannoli. All right, so I don't know if you saw this game or not. It was on Fox. Perhaps you missed it, but do not worry. Do not worry here. We watched so you would not have to. Green Bay was in a dogfight with Miami. They ended up picking off not one, not two, but three Tua Tagovailoa passes in the fourth quarter as Aaron Rodgers and the Packers rally back on the brink of a dark loss on the road, but the Packers end up beating the Dolphins 26-20 and couldn't be happier as a result. They keep their playoff hopes alive. Rodgers, 238 yards. He had a touchdown. Also had an interception for the Packers, who are still under 500. I was told when you're under 500, you're not worth a damn. The Packers at 7-8. They have won 3 in a row. Miami. They got the hipster coach, and they're 8-7. They've lost now 4 straight games. They go 0 for the month of December, and now must win their final 2 to make the postseason. The better story in the losing locker room, the sky is a-falling on top of the Miami Dolphins. So let us discuss the question. We start at the quarterback position because the play of the quarterback, they're beautiful people. Quarterbacks, when they don't play well, they're not so beautiful. So how would you describe Tua Tagovailoa's performance of late for the Dolphins? So I've got trapdoor, remote control, and style points. And we will combine all of these things together, and we're going to make a big, giant box that we're going to return later today. All right, so Tua Tagovailoa was not only a quarterback, but he was also lousy. Now, he wasn't lousy the entire game, and we mentioned this earlier if you were not listening. Midway through, things were going very well for Tua. In fact, the speed demons for the Dolphins were barbecuing the Green Bay Packers secondary. They were enjoying the nice soft cheese defense of the Packers. And if you watched only the first half and then had something else to do, whatever that might be, whether it's a family commitment or you had to take a nice nap or like me, go out and get some Chinese food, whatever you were doing, right? Whatever you're doing there, if you only watch the first half, you're likely wondering what the hullabaloo is. At halftime, Tua was averaging 19 yards per attempt. He only attempted 12 passes in the first half, completed 9 of them for an average of 19 yards per attempt, had a touchdown, a passer rating of 144 plus, and he had a couple of darts that he connected with. Jalen Waddle had an 84-yard catch and run touchdown. Tyreek Hill, 52-yard reception. And so you get to 19 yards per attempt when you get those big pass plays. And then in the second half, and specifically the fourth quarter, all of a sudden, and I'm not sure exactly when it happened, but this trap door opened up and Tua fell into a pit of anacondas. And he sucked at a time you cannot suck. Now, how bad was he? You'd like to think, if you're a Dolphin apologist, that this was a rock-bottom situation. Because Tua, after starting 9 of 12 in the first half, in the second half, he was 9 of 13. So it was about the same. It was one more attempt, same number of completions, but only 81 yards passing in the second half. That's 6.2 yards per attempt and no touchdowns and the 3 interceptions. And just brutal. 3 interceptions. 46 passer rating. Those 3 turnovers happening on the final 3 drives for the Dolphins. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Turn out the lights. The party's over. At least it was on this day for the Dolphins. Now, page 2. Is Tua Tagovailoa really the long-term answer for Miami? And you have to pause for a second. This flatulence continues a free fall for the Dolphins quarterback. And there's a saying that in professional sports, and really life in general, but we worry about sports in this part of the radio. So life happens very fast in the NFL. In 1 month, and we still not even done with the month, but the Dolphins are done playing this month of December. Tua went from highfalutin MVP candidate doing the walk, the Vince McMahon walk, and he's like, had his chest out. He's like, hey, look at me. You said I was a bum, and you people are losers. You had those arrogant Dolphin fans who were feeling their oats, who were bragging about Tua this, Tua that, and all that stuff. He was an MVP candidate. Not the favorite, but he was strolling around as an MVP candidate, and he was held in high regard. And in the span of 1 month, he has gone from MVP candidate to rinky-dink quarterback, bedraggled, tore up from the floor up. December, the month of dumpster diving for Tua. How bad has it been? I'm glad you asked. The last 4 games, the month of December, he has been obliterated. Tua, the completion percentage barely over 50%, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a fumble. So that is 1 touchdown for every turnover and a passer rating of below 81. Now remember, in the mid-90s is good, 100-plus is really good. So that would be a player who is not the long-term answer. Any lies detected? I say there are no lies detected in that. Now, the question that has to be answered before everyone goes stir crazy associated in Miami pro football, is this merely a speed bump for the Dolphins, or has the NFL now figured out Tua? That the Dolphins were fun to watch and all that, but now they've gone from drinking out of a sink to a fire hose. It's not going so well. And so have people figured out the gimmicky Dolphin offense, and now what you're seeing here is the Tua Tagovailoa has been figured out. And so at the bare minimum, this will cause Miami brass to grab the remote control and hit the pause button. In terms of the big picture, you would assume the position that they're not going to be dum-dums like the Arizona Cardinals, the stooges there who lock themselves up with that pint-sized punk Kyler Murray who stinks and is hurt right now. Are the Dolphins going to make that same mistake? Are they going to go down that road? You would say no, but Tua's got 1 year left on his rookie contract. So that'll keep him busy for another year, but the Dolphins are going to have to decide sooner than later whether or not they want to pick up the 5th-year option, the dreaded 5th-year option. And so Tua still has time. There's a couple games left to rewrite the ending, but he's dragging the Dolphins down by his performance here. And he's got 2 more opportunities to secure a playoff spot. It's not looking very good right now. And I would recommend that somebody in his stocking gave him some mouthwash because he's suffering from halitosis. He's got really bad breath. The 2 games left for the Dolphins. They play the Patriots in Foxborough. I'm sure the weather will be great this weekend. And the Dolphins, a 1.5-point road favorite in that game. The early line, Dolphins favored. And then they close it out at home with the Jets, Jets. And the rotting carcass of Zach Wilson or whoever ends up playing quarterback by week 18 for the Jets. So a couple divisional games for the Dolphins to close it out. All right, last word. So let's turn the page. And we'll go to the green and gold, the Green Bay Packers. So are the Packers going to make the postseason? They've won 3 games in a row. They certainly have a path to salvation in the playoff nation. But in all honesty, unpopular opinion. I'm now going to give an unpopular opinion. I'll get away from the microphone here in a moment. But in all honesty, I'm not impressed with the Green Bay Packers. I'm not impressed. That's a flawed football team to me. And I know everyone's going crazy for the Packers and they're back and all this. I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. I'm not getting caught up in the tidal wave of media hyperbole. And everyone's tickling the ivories with how great the Packers are all of a sudden. I take a step back, and I give you no style points. All right, the Cheeseheads have 3 wins in a row against the Bears, Rams, and Dolphins. 2 of those games were gift-wrapped, put under the tree by the opposing quarterbacks. The Bears had a big lead, and then Josh Fields, a couple of interceptions in the fourth quarter. Where have we seen that? I don't know. Tua, 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter. The Bears are a wretched team, and the Packers needed 2 interceptions by Fields in order to win that game, a team they normally dominate. And Tua and the Dolphins, right now, in this moment, the Dolphins are not a good football team. That you heard the sound, timber! Yeah, the tree is falling. Timber! Yeah. And right now, Tua Tagovailoa, he actually fell into the tree of suck, and I think he hit every branch in the tree of suck on his way down there. So that's not as impressive a win for the Packers. So they don't have any impressive wins. And the Ram game, the Ram players, when I saw the look on that Ram sidelines, when they walked out on the field in that cold, chilly weather at Green Bay, they had lost because of the weather at Lambeau Field. So listen, the Packers are in the right place at the right time. They are the beneficiaries of this, but I'm not going to extol the virtues of the Green Bay Packers. Now the Packers, they will be favored the final 2 games of the year at home against the Vikings and the Lions, a couple of NFC North dome teams that, even though they play in cities where it gets chilly, they play in the great indoors. Now they've got to play in the great outdoors. And so that's what's left on the table for the Green Bay Packers. They also need a little bit of help here because they lost to both Washington and the New York Giants. And as a result, they have to be ahead of them. If they're tied, the tie goes on the head-to-head tiebreaker to Washington and the Giants. So it's not a guarantee that they will stick the landing here, the Packers, and make the playoffs. But if you think the NFL is scripted, if you're one of those that believe that it's all scripted, then it's a great storybook situation.